talk about that.
Hi, everybody. We are back with a couple of experts from Vanderbilt. We really appreciate them spending an hour with us after a full workday, I imagine, here on OpenLine on News Channel 5 Plus. 737 Plus is the phone numbers. We talk about kids' health. We all want to take care of our kids, make sure they have a healthy body and mind, not only for the summer, but so they're prepared for another school year. All right, summertime with kids, all ages, they are, you know, they want to get out. Some of the tips that I've read, you know, you want to encourage, obviously, physical activity. You want to encourage them to read and kind of keep up their, you know, education acuity and get off the electronic devices. But it can be dangerous out there. I mean, we know about, you know, kids in pools and water, riding their bikes. Give us kind of an overview of the, you know, the spike in these injuries that you see in the summertime and how we can kind of, you know, get it lower, get the numbers lower. How can we help?
You want to take that
first? Yeah, sure. So you're right. We do have a lot more outdoor activities happening, and the risk for injury usually goes up in the summertime. Water safety is key. That's a very important one. So we always want to encourage folks to be supervisors for their children near water, whether that's the pool or the beach or the lake, that a parent is within close distance to their child who is swimming, and they call something called touch supervision. So especially your young children who are early swimmers, you want to be within where you could close reach, right there. That's right. You want to encourage to teach your children to swim. Most children starting around the age of 4 can start taking swim lessons. Younger children, of course, you're usually right there with the supervision and not necessarily letting them swim alone. I know they do have some swim classes for younger infants, but we don't want people to get too confident that they would are fully competent swimmers at that age. So we always want to have that close supervision. So
I just want to jump in because we've seen boating incidents spike, and a lot of times it is involving adults, but life vests.
Absolutely.
The kids have got to wear them and make sure that they're secure. Bike helmets also. Anywhere helmets if you're running around skateboarding, which obviously when I was a kid it wasn't a thing, but with the rate of injuries, this really can save lives, right? I mean,
definitely.
What do you see in the ER during the summer, basically? I mean, what is the biggest problem with kids?
And I'm currently not working in the emergency room, so but we see a fair amount of falls, broken bones. We do see head injuries related to bike accidents. We always want to encourage children to wear helmets, and it's not just bikes. So think about your scooters, think about ATVs, think about anything that is either motorized or can go at somewhat of a speed down a hill. That
and there's a lot more of them, it seems,
is an injury prone.
So
yes, there's all kinds of yeah, these hoverboards or whatever they are. Anything is a potential fall risk in that regard. So we see water injuries, the view. Poison
issues or kids getting into, well, obviously we know that sadly that there are kids who get a hold of guns. And those are just terrible injuries, but just things around the house, if mom and dad are gone or kids are hanging around, and you know, you got to make sure.
Yes, we do encourage all cleaners, medications. Cleaners can be toxic. Everything can be up high and out of the child's reach or locked away. Because yes, if the supervision in the summer is going down, or let's say you're spending a lot of time at grandma's house and she's not used to having kids around throughout the day necessarily, but maybe she has them in the summer. You know, what is happening with her medicines? You know, how careful is that caregiver with the children around? So. Yes, so poisoning is an option. We do see that year-round, of course, but potentially in the summer a little.
So all these things, I would think, build up to, you know, you just want to keep your kids obviously physically safe from harm, but you want them just overall to have a positive experience, especially post-COVID, somewhat post-COVID. One article I found some great tips in the summertime. Get away. Just like adults, change of scenery, a break from everyday routine. You know, it could be a full-blown vacation, could be a short day trip, could be a weekend somewhere, but
absolutely,
that helps, right?
Yes, yes, and even
emotionally.
Absolutely, going for a hike, being mindful of truly smelling the flowers when you go somewhere, just paying attention to the beauty around us. I think there's a lot of really wonderful places and experiences right around Nashville as well.
This also says incorporate some education, as I mentioned. You know, it's a time for kids to unwind during the summer, but you know, we got to keep them, the learning loss that happens over the summer, you know, mentally sharp. So some educational activities can help keep them. Here's another one. Help them find a purpose, something to do, maybe set a goal over the summer. Some kids are old enough to have a little part-time job. Others are not, but it still can kind of keep them locked in, because now, I mean, we all know, I'm guilty of it, but kids can get locked in on their electronics and stay on. And it's not only the screen time, but it's what they're looking at. It's social media. It's, you know, how do we got to really set rules, right, for that?
Absolutely, and I think during the school year we may be more specific about how many hours, and in the summer we may have more flexibility with a little bit less supervision over social media or electronics. So continuing to check on that is really important for your child's safety. Absolutely.
Another one I'm reading here is, limit electronics, but also set a flexible routine. We know structure is important, and I learned I had never really considered this as a parent, and talked to some experts about it, and kids may push back, but they really do crave that, okay, tell me what to do. I need some guidance, set the routine, and they really thrive in that. And after COVID, it's been rough, because the routine's just been all over the place. Right,
with school back and forth, I think that was really hard. And kids in the summertime, they need that flexibility to explore and be creative and imagine. And it's really important for them to have some structure, whether it's just sleep and wake time, or camp a few days, chores in the home. All of those pieces are really important as well.
Do you think, Doctor, that sleep can be a problem? I mean, it's a problem for adults, but for kids as well, just not just getting enough, but it's just staying up late, not being in a regular sleep schedule.
Correct. When your summer schedule is more free-form, yes, I see a lot of young people with the sleep schedule being off. They just, because they don't have anything they have to be up early to be to, oftentimes they can stay up later, and then they sort of alter their sleep schedule, and they're shifting it forward and going into the late mornings before they're getting up. So we do try and create some parameters so that they're not tired all the time during the day, and that they are getting some healthy sleep and not a lot of interrupted sleep or constantly on screens at night. So if they have a phone or a tablet or a TV in their room, if they're watching the electronics in the evenings or early mornings, that it really will adjust and throw off the sleep schedule, and it gets a little harder to get back on it, but definitely something you want to shoot for before school starts. Right,
and school's starting, in about 3 weeks, beginning of August, for a lot of mid-state school districts. I think August 1st, and then the following week. So now would be a good time to start that process if your children have gotten out of whack a little bit, to kind of get them back on schedule so they're ready to go, right?
Correct. It's not an overnight switch.
No.
So again, back to school, keeping kids healthy during the remaining of summer to set them up for success. 737+ if you would like to call in. Ooh, we got a caller. All right, let's go. We got Teresa on line 1. Hey, Teresa, how are you?
We're watching. Hello?
Go ahead. Yeah, can you mute your television for us and just talk over the phone? That'll help you.
Yeah, I'm on the phone.
Great. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
Okay, what's on my mind is, I noticed you're talking about the safety for children and the environment and everything. my question is, the safety first off is there's so much bullying going on in the schools. There's too much suicide going on in the schools, and we're talking about mental health. What is the procedures to put a stop to the bullying? Or is what I'm understanding from the children now, when school is fixing to start back, they're talking about mental health. When school is fixing to start back, there's so many children that are so afraid that someone's going to come to the school and they're going to lose their friends, or are they going to die? What are they going to do to prepare the children mentally to comprehend this? Because you got a lot of children that is really devastated over this.
Yeah, that is a great question. Let me just go to the doctors here. I'm glad she brought it up, because we hear a lot about counselors will be available, right? Which is great. These are resources we need, but how helpful is that? And how do we then, as parents or guardians, continue to watch kids after they see a traumatic event happen on television?
I think it's so important for us as parents to talk to our children about these events that they're learning about on TV or from friends or social media in a way that's developmentally appropriate for them. So if it's a younger child, asking them what they know first. If it's a teenager, bringing it up yourself to say, hey, I know this is out there, let's talk about it. I think it can support them to review their safety plan in their school, to talk with their teachers or know from their administration. And then beyond that, to recognize if they're still having anxiety, which is understandable given the situations we hear about and the trauma, and supporting them with trying to maintain their regular daily activities, do things that are fun, enjoyable, even when they're feeling scared, can be helpful.
Right. Other than talking, are you a proponent, if needed, of medication for anxiety for kids? It depends on the case, I would imagine.
It does depend on the case. And the first line goal of treatment for most childhood anxiety is therapy, or being able to talk with someone about their thoughts and feelings. And then we do progress to medications at times, depending on the severity of the case and the age of the child. And so we would just encourage you to talk to your children in an open and honest way, and then help walk through some of their fears, maybe problem solve a little, or do a role play scenario, talk through how might you handle this. And then they might have a little bit more of an agency or feel a little more prepared. That might not fix all the anxieties, but certainly speak with your pediatrician or your mental health care provider, if you have one, about how much is the anxiety impacting your child? Is it impairing their ability to function or even go to school? That is very important.
Sometimes maybe there's an underlying issue, and something like what we've seen happen in recent months can trigger it, right? For whatever reason, you know, so all of a sudden the parents are like, what's going on?
Right, and they may have not seen those symptoms as they were arising before. And we certainly see that in the hospital too, with children who come in with more severe anxiety disorders or depression. And once we get to know them, we realize it's been there for a while.
Yeah, right.
And that's at no fault of the family or of the child. It just happens.
All right, Emma, can we go ahead and take this next break a little early? Okay, my allergies are killing me. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm doing fine.
I could tell it just here.
I know. The eyes are watering. It's that time of year. All right. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for the call, Teresa. More after this.